Hello and welcome to another episode of No Load Time. My name is Owen Velez, and with me, it's the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good, no load time? I ain't gonna lie to you. We were having a lot of fun before. That's why you see us laughing at the start of the show. We had a lot of fun before we started. There was a moment I thought that might have actually been the intro, but so
I know, yeah.
I was turning red.
Yeah, you can see Joel. If you're watching the video right now, you can see the sweats. You can see the sweats over there.
It's not just the red background behind me. What?
I was about to throw Joel under the bus. I wouldn't do that. He's my dude, so wouldn't do that.
Brothers,
not live on there. At least not today, right? At least not today.
right. Every now and then,
every now and then I'll do it. Not today. Yeah, I don't know. It's like because you like, for a few weeks now. Since I got the new camera, you've been telling me it's like, hey, your audio is kind of weird, but I was like, oh no, my OBS picks up fine. I didn't realize that I didn't change the audio on your end, so you could you heard me through the camera, which I guess wasn't bad because you didn't really complain about it.
Hear you.
Hey,
yeah, I can still hear you. It just didn't sound like the wonderful voice of Obed that I'm used to.
Hello.
The quality.
Yes,
there it is.
The quality content in all the time. Hey guys, we got a pretty good show today. PSA, no show next week because Joel and I will probably be intoxicated with turkey. So that's how I want to. You want to specify intoxicated? And I was like, I don't. We don't drink. Like I don't drink because I don't like it. Joel doesn't drink.
Same.
So we'll be intoxicated with whatever the turkey thing that gives you like sleepiness is. I forgot the name of it. No episode next week. Hoping to be back the week after that. And then prepping up for the holidays. We usually take off a couple weeks during the holidays. So we'll let you guys know. Joel, a bunch of like Black Friday stuff out there, like starting today, and it's very good, bro.
Yeah. What's some of the top stuff you're looking at right now?
Oh man!
Not saying like even to buy, just things that got your attention is what I will say.
Okay.
Things like if you were just general consumer.
So I will have an update to this next week.
Okay.
Or not next week, but the week after. Because I've been looking at the portable retro consoles. I went down that rabbit hole. I've been going down that rabbit hole for about a year now, and I really want to get one of those consoles, but ended up making another choice. Hopefully that was the right one, and I will tell you why once I have what I got, and I'll show it on the podcast, and we'll go through my reasoning why I picked that specific thing. But I'm still looking at those retro consoles, man. Man, a lot of really good sales though on the eShop and PSN right now. Like really good stuff, really good discounts. So I actually grabbed that Sega Genesis collection for the Switch. We were talking about it yesterday. We talked about it last week on the episode. I said that this is going to get delisted. So I had it on PS4, but I went ahead and bought it on the Switch. I was like, you know what? It's $9 on the Switch right now on sale. Let's grab it. So did that. But I've been doing. I don't want to get too crazy with a PC. I really don't want to invest a lot of money on it right now. I bought RAM not too long ago. I don't really do a lot of gaming on it, so I think the GPU. I refurbished it. I cleaned it, replaced the thermal pads and paste. So for my needs, I'm fine. It's an old GPU. It's a workhorse GPU, but it'll do for now. I've been eyeing the new Mac Mini. I'm sure you've seen it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks great.
That thing is crazy, man. Like you cannot get probably a better computer for that price right now. It's insane. So, and for my needs, right? Again, I'm not a hardcore PC gamer or anything like that. So for my needs, I think it's perfect. So, and again, my needs is the podcast and web browsing. That's it. Like
Yeah.
I really don't need it for anything else, and maybe some emulation here and there.
Right.
But man, that's what I've been eyeing, really. I know that Best Buy has some really aggressive Apple stuff, like the AirPods Pro 2 for like 160 or something like that, dude.
Wow.
Like really good stuff.
The pros. Wow.
Yeah. I do need a new Apple Watch. My watch, I have a Series 3. It's getting to the point where it's not picking up movement as good as I wanted to. So if I see any on the new, because my wife has the SE too, and it's been fine for her. But I probably would need something a little bit more robust. So I was hoping that they would release an SE3 this year. They didn't. So I may just wait it out till next year and get an SE3 if it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking of upgrading my phone, but it's like it's what I need to. It's like you got to put things in perspective, right? And it's like no, do I need a new phone? No, my phone's working fine. You know. But yeah, the gaming stuff. I like there's some really good GPUs on sale. I saw a Ryzen 7 5600, I think, on sale on Amazon for like $120 or something. And
Wow.
that's an 8-core CPU, dude. It's like it's like 2 generations newer than the one that I have, and it's a model above the one I have. And my motherboard supports it, but I don't, again, I just don't want to get too crazy. I want to, I have some plans for next year. I want to, upgrade maybe to the Mac Mini. I got some other stuff that I'm working on personally. So, but there's some really good stuff, man. Like, I'm looking for an Xbox controller, actually. If I can find one at a good price, I'll get it for the PC because it's just easier to.
I'm just kidding.
Bro, it's just that, look, I have my old dual shock 4 here that I've been using on PC for the longest time. And the problem is that the wireless is spotty with it. I don't know if it's my Bluetooth adapter. I don't know if it's the controller itself. This controller's been through a lot. So I'm nearly not sure exactly what it is. But if I can find an Xbox controller for a decent price, I'll probably get it. I think I saw them for like $45, which is not bad. So I may end up grabbing one of those. I'm not other than a couple of games here and there that I've seen that I'm interested in. I'm still waiting for that to switch, dude. Whatever the next Nintendo thing is, and they didn't do it. So I don't know, man.
Obed has lost the bet.
I lost the bet, and we'll eventually get to the pineapple on pizza, but they had to do something this year. They didn't. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, they can prove me wrong next year, and they can come out swinging. So we'll see.
No, they will. They will. We both know that it's probably was a delay of some kind. Like this thing's been worked on for a bit, but they didn't have any reason to have to rush.
It could be the software. Could be that software's not ready. Because more than likely these things are probably already being made, the hardware.
Yes.
But it could be that the software's not ready. So I mean, at this point, it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, no, there's some really good stuff, some really aggressive stuff out there. So if you guys are looking for good deals like Best Buy and Amazon right now on electronics, dude, it's like insane right now. Like I think this is probably the best like Black Friday sale that I've seen in a while, probably in the last 5 years, to be honest with you, since pre-pandemic.
That's
probably.
good. That's good.
Yeah, which is good because it's like really aggressive stuff, and some really good deals. But yeah,
and some of it's starting early, like you've said too.
Yeah, they start early, and you gotta take care of these things early now. So, are they doing something for Cyber Monday? Who knows, right? At this point,
yeah,
they can just mix it up. But yeah, man, I don't have a lot on my end. One episode away from finishing Cobra Kai, and I think I'm one episode from One Punch Man. I finished My Hero Academia, dude. You gotta watch that show, Joel.
Yeah, bro.
You gotta watch that show. I'm telling you, man. You gotta like as someone that is a superhero enjoyer.
Yeah.
You should watch it. Like it's a. I think Invincible is really good. If you like the more like, I guess dark side of superhero stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But My Hero in the way it's a really good mix of like anime superhero stuff and like I'd say standard or Western superhero stuff. So I highly recommend it. It is so flipping good. Like even to the point where we finished up and my daughter was like, I've never seen an entire season of anything that the entire season is a fight. Like it's the entire season. It's a fight, dude.
That's great.
It's bro. It is so flipping good, and I can't wait for the ending. Last final season's next year, so
Wow.
sad to see it go, but it was quite a run. But yeah, check it out. It's on everything. I think it's on like Hulu. It's on Netflix now.
Wow.
Crunchyroll. I'd recommend Crunchyroll always because it's like probably going to give you the best experience. I think, and they have all the episodes. So yeah, man, it's really good. But we'll talk Rings of Power here in a minute after you go, sir.
Yeah, I mean, not really too much to say on my end, to be honest. Life has been pretty busy, as you know, my friend. So definitely has been quite unique. I look forward to when you get through watching Penguin, so we can talk about that full
Probably gonna
season. I
start
mean, what a
that this
phenomenal
week. Yeah,
going to. Yeah, I haven't got to catch Cobra Kai yet either. I know that's been going through. Um, yeah, man. I think we might as well just actually jump right into Rings of Power. I think a good transition here. We can start talking about because last week you alluded, and for the last couple weeks you've been talking about just how you've gone through the process of, you know, it's kind of a slow grind of just like, you felt bored and lost interest and was watching it just to get through it and not really as much entertained and just now that you're done with the full season, obviously I watched it week to week at the time, so it's a good opportunity now for us to take like a full digest, of
right.
really season two of Rings of Power. Now that it's you've had time to think about it and digest it, and I'm just curious to hear like just your now full season, highs, lows, all of
Right.
it.
So, spoilers for the entire season, I guess. Right.
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
put it out there. Um, why didn't they have another episode like this like mid season? Because I think this last episode was excellent. It was really good. So I think that where they missed the point where was that they needed you can do your build up right because they've been building up to this thing, and then I totally forgot about the build up, and then the build up happens and the thing happens at the end and everything happens at the end, right? But I think that they where the season as a whole like falls apart is that you're making me wait 7 hours for this last episode that is really good. So yeah, they needed an episode like this mid season, like season 4 or season like I'm sorry, episode 4 or episode 3 or episode 4 should have been an episode with the quality and caliber of this episode because it's like high stakes, stuff's happening, and winners and losers on both sides, and plot twists and all this, right? It was pretty crazy. I, I'm gonna give the season as a whole like a 6.5.
That's fair.
If it would have been, if this last episode would have fell flat and been another like slog episode, I would have given it a 4. But yeah, but this final episode got it over the hump to where it's okay and not mediocre, because the episode was really good. And that's, again, going back to it. Again, I think the how they did the Celebrimbor stuff on the Shadow of Mordor, miles better than this. Although, like, the conclusion to that, right, it was really good. Of course, we all knew that Celebrimbor was going to die at some point. And it happened in this episode. Not only Celebrimbor, like, the Myrdania, it's like, see ya, gets a hammer to the head from an orc or whatever. It was brutal. This episode was brutal, man. Like,
yeah.
I think the Galadriel Sauron fight was good. Was really good. Sauron not being fully in control of, like, everything, right? Because Celebrimbor still was able to outsmart him, and at the end, right? He got his way, right? But at least from from Celebrimbor's end, he was able to outsmart Sauron. So that was fine. Man, like, overall, the fight sequences were good. Elrond was good, and the king was good. Like, I think everyone was good in this last episode. It's just that it's a shame that we had to go through the It's like, and this is so dang boring, and we had to go through the whole thing just to get to this, like, really awesome episode. And they should have just, and they don't have to do an entire episode like this. They could have sprinkled episodes with this sort of thing, and it would have made it a lot better. But, it's interesting that to some point they learned from the mistakes of season 1, but then they make new mistakes. So what are they going to do next season? Learn from, like, hey, it's super freaking boring. Maybe we can do more with it, right? Because the movies, the movies have a lot of exposition, but the pacing on the movies is so good that it's like, yeah, you get exposition, but then a small action sequence, exposition, chase sequence, exposition, fight sequence. Like you get like a lot of parts like that during the entire trilogy, and this one is like entire episode exposition for an hour. Oh, next episode, exposition for 45 minutes, 15 minutes of a chase. And then the next episode is 10 minutes of an action sequence at the beginning, and then 50 minutes of exposition. And I think that's what the problem was. So just the pacing was really slow. It was just not good. This last episode, though, you have your exposition during the battle sequences, and it's excellent.
Right.
So, I don't know. They should have just learned from their mistakes, and hopefully they do for season 3. But this episode was really good. This, as a finale, it went out with a bang. So I'm good with that. But that's where I am with it.
Yeah, I totally think it's understandable what you're saying, because I wanna judge it on its own merits, but at the end of the day, it is a second season. So you can't talk about second season without having the foundation of the first season,
right.
And that's why you have to compare really the two. And I think what was one of the stronger points that I enjoyed. I know people have different opinions on season 1, but one of the stronger points I think that I enjoyed was the mystery of season 1. It felt like you were in this world where you were learning all these different characters, but there was this wonderful mystery and build up to this whole this hidden evil Sauron, being in the shadows. He's really no longer in the shadows when you go right into this next season, right? I mean, like he is, but he isn't, right? Like obviously he is pretending to be this deity to the elves and
Right.
using that as a way to manipulate, Celebrimbor and all the people that are under his lordship. And I like and you're seeing, like the conflict between each ones that have already received the rings on the elf side, as well as obviously the creation of the ones for the dwarves, and ending with the ones created for men, which all the rings have been created except for the one to rule them all, obviously. But all the rings have been created up into this season that we witness. So, a lot of this season was more. I felt like clearly television drag. You have the effect of where if it was a film, there's a lot of things that would have been cut and they would have just jumped to certain things. But because it is television, they focus a little bit more on character study style type things, and that's where you get your exposition. And it's okay to do that, but making sure obviously you keep the heart of the show still intact too. Where this is a fantasy world, and this is a world where it's literally a world at war essentially through many people. I personally liked it a little more than you did, but I really respect where you're coming from, because I think the reasons you laid out was some things that I was kind of like alluding to and cautioning to, like when I watched, remember, just the first two episodes even,
Right.
where I was like, I like it, but I totally could see where there's a possibility it's going to drag a little bit this season. And I remember kind of setting my expectations after those first two and kind of feeling like there's a lot of really good, for me, like the dramatic beats is what really made it cool for me. But if that's not going to do it for everybody, like that's not going to get people super excited. And I understand that, like as an audience, the expectations, like if this was Star Wars, something that I really care about, I would be probably harsher on it. I'm not saying I don't care about Lord of the Rings, but it's not, and in that same tier. It's something that I've just enjoyed casually, and so I'm not the biggest Tolkien know-it-all. I'm not the guy that has a deep dive on all of it. And one of the things that I did here, and please don't take this as gospel, do your own research, but I had heard that the whole thing in the Silmarillion with setting up for Celebrimbor, creating all of these rings. And when specifically Sauron is there, it takes place almost for like 500 years that he's there, of basically like manipulating him. Like it
Right.
is years and
It's a
years
long
and years
time.
of him wearing him down and getting to a point where he just thinks he truly is his friend. So he really is caught off guard. Now, do we get the same type of effect of this in a TV show? No, very clearly not. But you could tell that was probably one of the biggest beats that they wanted, and they really end with that, obviously seeing that full rise. I
Right.
thought the elf stuff was some of the better things for sure. The dwarf stuff I felt very mixed about. I think the dwarf stuff had its moments, and there were parts of it that were
Yeah.
cool, but then there were parts of it too that we knew the effect that was happening
I kind
on
of
the
lost
king,
interest by the
and
end.
then yeah, like you knew where it was going. It was so predictable. I think that's what made it a little bit not as effective, because you can kind of
Right.
see where that was going. However, I love the setup for season three. Like I love the politics now of like, well,
Right.
now that Prince Dern is now going to be King Dern. Spoilers, everybody.
And he's
Like
setting
I'm
up the
excited.
the mines of Moria and all that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm really excited for the next season, actually, for the elves more than I was this season. But then, sorry, the elves, sorry, the dwarves. But I think actually the worst one out of all of them for me was really the stuff with Gandalf.
Gandalf. Yeah.
Spoilers, we find out who he is. I thought that was some of the worst stuff of the whole season.
So
I thought they tried to get a little deep with
I,
it. They try to make it super like mystical, but it dragged.
so I gotta pause here because throughout the entire season, that was the worst part.
Yeah.
But when the name part came up, dude, I got super emotional. I was like,
Yeah, yeah. That was cool.
yeah,
That was
that was
cool.
cool. That was good. Like that part
Yeah.
was good, and like him finding himself and then talking like Gandalf, right? And that
Yes.
when he came to the realization, and that was all like really really well done.
Yeah.
Like
The
again,
finale's great.
this episode was a
Yeah.
10 out of 10. It's just that the other episodes were like 4 and 5s. That's the
See,
problem that I have.
I think the last 2 episodes got me personally. I think the last 2 go really strong,
Yeah,
and I
the
understand where
last
you're
one was
coming
like a
from.
7. Yeah.
But like the Doom to Die episode, I thought was such a great step because like I love the huge troll like that. The battle with that was just super awesome to me, right?
Right.
Showing
Right.
up
Right.
and then time to take it down. And I like talk about dramatic beats. Like this to me made The Hobbit even more profound to me because you have this whole moment where Elrond's like, my friend, like Durin will be there when I need him. And
Oh
he's
yeah.
standing there and they've battled for, I mean, all night, all morning. It's the next day. It's been over 24 hours of war. And he's like, okay, the light has come. And he's just waiting, the sound of the alarm. And
And
Durin
then
is there.
like,
And even as they're going to bed, like he cannot, and go to the reason he keeps saying, Durin will come.
right.
Durin will like, and he's so emotionally like broken because he's like, my friend, weren't. And even when you get then to the point in the finale where the dwarves do show up, he turns around Durin and he's like, no, the king is in mourning, he's not here. Or sorry, the prince is in mourning. He
Prince,
doesn't say
yeah.
he's the king at that moment. And like some of those thought was like that's a special. Friendship's always been important in Tolkien, and obviously just that now shows you why there was such a heavy offense that the elves have when the dwarves show up and say, we're trying to take back our
Right.
mountain and we need your help. And they're like, why we're gonna help you? You weren't there to help us when our people were going through it and we had to rebuild ourselves in the forest. Like there's it added good levity, I think, between those parts there. And I thought just in general, like the Adar stuff was pretty wild too.
Oh, that was a good.
But man,
That was a good. Again,
yeah,
like the plot twists and all that on this
yeah,
episode, it was really good, man.
yeah,
It was really, really good.
for sure.
It's just that, unfortunately, you had to suffer through 8 hours of like one of the most boring things I've ever watched. to
Wow,
get there.
dude, I can't believe that.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
No, man, that's
It's
I did not think it
crazy.
was that
Like
bad.
the episode, the episode before the last one was good. That was a good episode.
Yeah.
But not that, again, it's like a 7 for me. Like but this one like 10 out of 10. It's just that the other
Yeah.
episodes were like when are we gonna get to something happening? It's like,
Yeah.
why are they walking through the desert and nothing is happening? And then why is like Galadriel just hanging out here, not doing anything? And
Yeah.
that's and
There
I
was a
think that's
sense
the
of a
problem.
lack of adventure. Yeah, there was a lack. There was a
Yeah.
lack of adventure for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's why I said between the dwarves and specifically the Kingdom of Men, like the whole thing of them kind of going through where Isildur is and him being lost. Like I wasn't connected the way I probably should have been, and I understand what they were building, and on paper it probably really was special there, but. I don't know, man. It definitely felt like they dragged a lot with some of those
Yeah.
extra storylines and the stuff that was good sprinkled in.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens next season. So
Season 3 has a good setup.
They
I think it
have-
has a
yeah.
good setup, though.
they have a good setup,
You
but
have
you
your
gotta keep
foundation of all the rings have been made. You have your
Right.
foundation set, right?
right.
You know, the men are gonna get theirs.
I
And
have a
stuff, and
theory.
then you're getting to the One Ring being built.
I have a theory. The dude that's that usurped the throne from the queen, from the Newman or whatever.
Yeah.
He's gonna get a ring. I think he's gonna get a ring.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think he's gonna get a ring. I don't think he is. He's gonna be like the Witch King,
The ring
right?
roll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's gonna get a ring. I think. Yeah. So because you gotta make like all that we know that kingdom fell, right? And
Right.
then Elendil he makes Gondor after that kingdom falls, and then becomes the first king of Gondor. So, and then we know he dies, but Sauron kills him.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh, yeah.
and then Isildur's killed, and we all know the story, right? But like that's probably gonna be the man. It's, at this point, it's like there's 3 more seasons, right? They said at least, or they said that they're going to do 5.
It's supposed to be 5, but there was a quote made by one of the execs saying, we have plans for season three. Depending on how season three performs, will depend on if more seasons come out. Like they're not committed to doing
Okay.
all five, and which is like casual television, but
Right.
they budgeted for sure. I mean, they paid literally tons of money to have 5 seasons.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we'll see. All right. We're going to talk PlayStation here in a minute, but we got a couple of things that we wanted to talk about real quick. Star Wars Visions Volume 3 officially announced, coming out next year. They announced some of the studios. Of course, some of the studios are back, like Trigger. And then this year they're adding David Production, who is the studio responsible for the JoJo's
Right.
Bizarre Adventure anime. Um, they got some studios on board, and this thing's coming out next year, man. I'm really excited. Like so far, that's probably been one of my favorite like Disney Star Wars things. So I'm really excited about this.
It makes sense. I think I don't know what the cost basis is for making these things, but it's got to be better than the Acolyte. So you're gonna keep making these, and I do like them. Like I like them because
Yeah.
it's not, there's no danger, there's no harm, there's no foul in making these. These are created by fans, by professional studios,
Yeah.
and with respect to their own culture. So there's no appropriation, but also blending it into an intellectual property that a lot of people think selfishly of wherever they're from, realizing this is a worldwide thing. Now remember, Star Wars Celebration next year is in Japan. So like this is great. This
Makes
kind of is
sense.
tying into the also as well. Not obviously they're not, these studios aren't just based out of Japan. There's studios everywhere,
The
right?
studios
But
all yeah,
but
there's studios all over the world. Yeah.
all over the world. But the point being is like, I think it's cool to, again, like when they're not in the States. They could have done so well when they're in Europe and stuff, but they're going to be in the first time in the Asian market having a celebration. Like it's cool to see like more of this worldwide style Star Wars content that again is harmless and fun. Keep giving the fans what they like. Good move here, Disney.
They should they should get the Godzilla -1 dude to make a Star Wars movie.
Don't even
Oh,
get
did
me
you see that?
started.
Did you see that they gave him another Godzilla movie?
Oh, I
We
saw
did.
it.
Yeah,
I'm
we didn't talk
very
about that.
pumped.
Yeah.
Very pumped.
Yeah, man. Uh, yeah, they should pick. They should go out and get. And I know that they're probably very apprehensive because um, we don't want to have an Ang Lee Hulk kind of scenario here,
Yeah,
where
for
you
sure.
give the the keys to the kingdom to a foreign or I guess an Asian director in this case, and unfortunately he did not understand. He doesn't understand the source material, so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just get
Just did his own thing.
something that tries to be pseudo philosophical and all that. It just doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah, and it gave us some decent action sequences for the time, I think.
He used the budget for action.
Yeah, right. But yeah,
Story was tough, but
some of the choices made in that movie, man, were really
yeah,
really strange. But yeah, I'm excited. It's Visions have been so far one of my favorite things. So it's good
yeah,
stuff.
agreed.
And in typical Universal fashion, coming in and telling Disney, "Hold my beer, I'll show you how it's done." They put out a teaser for the How to Train Your Dragon live action version, and dang, Joel, this looks good.
Yeah, yeah. They don't look like they're missing here. They
No,
look
man.
like they're not they're creating a film that's adapting the original source material for something that was made 15 years ago. I think it was when the first one came out. I think it was 2010
Probably.
or
Man,
well, it came out
it's been that
2025 when it
long.
was out.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's been a long time. 15
Man.
years roughly. So it's been a while, and it's grown, and they obviously have their multiple films. So they know that this is something that's still pretty fresh in people's minds, and
It's going to the parks
I,
next year.
Yeah, they're not slowing down with How I Train Your Dragon. They're fully committed. The film, like just the whole moment of him meeting his dragon and like I won't hurt you and like it's exactly makes you have those
Yeah.
same feelings and the voice and all of it. I mean, Gerald Butler, like it's exciting. It feels like it almost feels like a fan film, but in a good way. Like like I
Right.
mean that like in a good way. Just from that little
No, you
tease,
know
like
what?
it
No,
felt like
you're not wrong.
you know.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, man, this looks really good. Coming out in June next year,
Yeah,
and yeah, I guess I'm looking forward to it because it does look very good. So
for sure, for sure.
um, yeah, man. All right, we got a few PlayStation updates. The first one, we'll go into the big one here in a minute, but the first one is that the PlayStation Portal is no longer just a streaming device for your PS5. It now has limited cloud streaming um, capabilities. So you do not need a PS5 if you have PS Plus Premium. You can stream your PS5 games to the portal as long as you have internet. So there's the catch is that you need premium to use that feature, but it is now available, and you do not need a PS5 to be online for this. So if you're on vacation and you don't want to leave your PS5 on for a week and you take your portal with you, you can still stream your stream games, PS5 games, as long as they're available on the on PS Plus Premium. Questions arise, right? We were having a conversation about it yesterday, and it's like, how do your saves sync? Like, can you sync your saves? And if
Yep.
you're playing a game on the cloud that you have on your PS5, can you still play the game and sync? I mean, I'm assuming you can, but yeah, questions. There's questions. How will this impact other devices coming out in the future? Right? Could be whether it be a revision of this device or a new device altogether. So we don't know, and I guess we'll find out once the feature starts rolling out, which I think it did this week with the update, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yep, that is correct. So yeah, man. Microsoft also ramping up their cloud efforts. But what do you think, dude?
Yeah, this is super exciting. I am of the mindset that um, the portal has transformed the way I thought about it. They've somehow been able to get me to now look at it and go, huh, you actually look good. I think I might want you. And that's something that I wasn't feeling that way about this console before. It's not really a console because I thought it was just a streaming device.
Right.
And they've answered that question now. Like a year, it's like a year, not a year later, but like a while later, and a lot of people had asked me like, should I get this portal? And my instinct was go get a backbone because you can plug that in your phone. You have a data plan. Like it's going to be better experience to be able to connect than spending double the price for the portal. Now that's not going to be my answer. Nothing against a backbone, but I think this just made it way better because if I have a premium plan and if you have a PS5, you have to already have a PS Plus subscription. There's no way around it. You pay a little bit more for this plan, but you get this great library, and then you already have this really high-end streaming device, and you don't have to worry about having your console on when you're going on vacation to Malibu. Yeah, I think this sells.
Malibu.
I don't know. I just threw out a location. I ain't going there right now. but
He outed
what
himself.
I'm not going there right now. There's no vacations for me right now.
No vacation for you, sir.
but yeah, like I look at this now, and I brought the question up to you about that, saying, okay, well, if I do have this, and I do have to have a PS5, and then I'm trying to play a game and I'm beating when I am traveling. Maybe I'm, if you're a student going to school, or you're somebody who's, just has a career where they have to travel a lot, and you're like, I'm trying to make progress on this game, and you like to play it on my TV. I don't want to just have handheld exclusive, which is what the Switch sold a lot of people on. So I want to play on my PS5 the game that I've already paid for in this premium collection. And then now I want to download the same thing on my Portal. Hopefully that game save is going to connect, and
Right.
I'm going to be able to continue my progress and not feel like I have my mobile progress and then I have my home experience progress. I'm hopeful that that's the case, but I think it does. This makes sense, but we don't know that for sure. We'll find out that soon enough. But this really does make this way more incentivized. I want one. Do I need it? No. Do I want it? Yeah.
Sure.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a better proposition now than it was before. So,
Right.
yeah, it's pretty interesting that they're, you know, addressing, I guess, what the issue has been with the console is just that it's just strictly you gotta have your device, your PS5 on to be able to play. So
Shout out to Mike in the chat.
yeah, hey, what's up, dude? Um, you could potentially not even have a PS5 and just sign up for PSN Premium and play on your portal.
Right.
Right. You don't need to have a PS5 now. So I mean, unless that's a requirement, who knows? I don't know. I don't own the device, so
Yeah.
I really don't know what the setup
think
process
so.
is. I don't know if that's a requirement, but yeah, that should be interesting. I'm gonna do a little bit more research and see what the setup process for that device is, and if it's required. But hey, at this point, it seems like it's not. So
Right.
yeah, good stuff. All right. So this week there was a report saying that Sony has approached Kadokawa Corporation, parent company of From Software, and it looks like they are interested in acquiring Kadokawa Corporation. So Kadokawa confirmed that Sony approached them and that they're interested. So a lot of From Software fanboys out there crying about it, and rightfully so. I think that the way that From Software has been able to streamline their processes when it comes to like both the development and online features for those games is it's really good. I'm just hoping that if something like this happens, Sony still gives them the freedom that they need to be able to operate as they are. I think the latter may be potentially the case, and I'm going to tell you why, Joe. From Software has some awesome games. Elden Ring and Dark Souls and Bloodborne is freaking incredible. There's a little game called Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
Small independent.
Which is a small independent game. It is an incredible game. I think. I mean, bearing just the Elden Ring is something special because the sense of discovery that the game gives you is just it's just something. It's special. Like if you're into open world dark fantasy kind of like discovery and puzzling the story together and all that, incredible experience. But I think Sekiro is probably their best game.
Wow.
And Sekiro was published by Activision. and that
Xbox.
And that game is a From Software game through and through. Like, there's no Activision DLC things and no microtransactions, no weird online features that you have to sign up to your Activision account to access the online features. None of that. So I think they'll be fine. Also, Sony already owns like 16% of From Software or Kadokawa. So I think it's just From, because they invested in From Software. They own 14% stake in. They own 2% of Kadokawa right now and 14% stake in From Software. Sony does. So keep in mind that Kadokawa is not just a developer. They're a conglomerate. They have publications. They have media ventures. They have technology ventures. They also own Spike Chunsoft. They developed the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. That was them. And the Octopath games that Square Enix has published. So it's a big company. So this would be a big get for Sony, right? A homeland advantage, I would say, right? It's a Japanese company. I think it's a good and just when you think of Sony, right, a lot of people just think about PlayStation, but they don't think about that, Sony has movie studios and music publishing and insurance, and they are a technology company, right? So they're just not people associate Sony with PlayStation, but it is a conglomerate as well. So I think that this is a smart move by Sony. Fans are concerned, rightfully so, right? Because they don't oh no, I'm gonna need PSN to log into Elden Ring or whatever, right? It's like, or whatever the next game is. You'll be fine. I don't think Sony's gonna meddle too much with this. This is a well-oiled machine, and I don't think Sony's gonna come in and do their thing. So, big get if it happens, Joel. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I would say proceed with caution, fans. Like you have every right to have your feelings and emotions about this large of a potential acquisition, but that doesn't mean that we jump to assumptions. Like if you're instantly assuming the worst and saying all these things that are going to happen, like you're saying, I'm going to have a PSN, and I mean whatever that is. Like we don't know that. Don't assume that. Don't make that. Don't spread that as gospel because it just hasn't been announced yet. Right now,
Right.
It's purely a business transaction. And would you blame Sony for doing this? If you're in their
Absolutely
shoes, I think any sane person that understands business would say, even if I don't like it, I get it. It's like, I'm going to use a sports analogy for a second. It's like I know a little bit about this. It's like if you have a player that's really, really good, and this player decides that he's going to leave a team that you thought he was good at to now go to another team that's a competitor of yours, but that team's going to pay him money and he's going to have a better chance of winning his ultimate goal of having a championship in whatever sport this is. As much as he might be selfishly saying, I don't want them to leave this town, I don't want them to leave this city, I want them to stay here because this, that, and whatever.
Right.
At the end of the day, you can't fault him because it's a good business decision for them. Their career times are limited. It's not the same thing. I know that's a little bit of a stretching going on here, but I just would encourage people to say, like, look at the other end of it. This is purely a business transaction. Some might say the same thing when saying, Joel, when we talked about like an Activision being purchased up, slightly different. But there's parts of that too that is truth.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not all up in arms. I hope other people aren't as well.
Yeah. Overall, I think this is a great move by Sony. If it happens. They're From Software is a very efficient developer. Kadokawa owns, tech and publishing arms that Sony could benefit from in other ventures. Um, they can still, Spike Chunsoft can still put out their Dragon Ball games and their anime games and their RPGs, and they'll be fine. Like I don't see, unlike Xbox, I don't see PlayStation just coming in as like, I'm gonna take my toys and go home, right?
Yeah.
I think their approach is different, and um, there's a lot more, right? It's just not only the gaming part of it. They have a big publishing arm, manga and movies and TV. It's a big company, right? And Sony's been making moves on anime, like with Crunchyroll and all this stuff. So I just there's more to it. Like it's not only just the gaming side. Um, yeah, sure, right. Owning a premier developer, like probably the best developer in the world right now. You know what? Get credit where credit's due, right? I think when it comes to like from a gameplay perspective and a storytelling perspective,
No.
they're up there. But they could benefit from stuff that Sony has, like game engines, because they're
Right.
still
Right.
using that Dark Souls engine, man, and it's showing its age. So, um, who knows? Like, it could be like a Kojima thing that is like, hey, maybe they let's partner up. In this case, let's let me buy you, and I'll let you use my tools so you can make your stuff better, right? It could be a scenario like that. So I'm not too concerned. I'm good. Um, I just don't see PlayStation meddling around too much with this. It's a big company. It's not just From Software. There's a lot that's included here, and it seems more of a media um, purchase, uh, but with gaming benefits, in my opinion. So yeah, it's a good move. It's a good move. Um, when it comes to like other like Japanese developers that Sony may approach, it could be that Sony it's testing the waters. Like let's go ahead and start approaching, you know, devs and other and publishers and see how it goes. So we'll see. I'm sure that updates will come in the next few weeks for this news. So
Sounds good to me.
yeah,
We'll see. We'll see. We'll keep tuned, guys.
yeah, for sure. It's basically what we got, dude. Short and sweet this week. Nothing too
Yeah.
crazy. It's a slow news week. We're still tired. I'll definitely use the use the break next week
Yeah.
and recharge. But we're gonna be back. But in
We
the
will.
meantime, sir, where can people find us?
Everyone, thank you so much for staying with us, staying tuned, stay subscribed. We need you guys to support us on all of our platforms. So, on podcast platforms of your choice, make sure you're subscribed to the audio version of No Load Time. We're on SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon Music. Make sure you follow us, subscribe to us on those platforms. We're also on YouTube. Thank you for those of you who are watching the video version. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, drop comments. Those are things that all the YouTubers always say, but truly that support, those actions really help continue to grow organically. So your support matters. Additionally, if you'd follow us on social media at No Load Time, that's at No Load Time, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, we're out there. Make sure you also can follow us, like I said, on Twitch, but if you do, it's No Load Time altogether. You can also support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/no load time. That's patreon.com/no load time. You can support the show with as little as $1 a month, literally just $1 a month. And that helps us cover some of the costs and things that we're doing and some stuff we want to grow with. So, we're not asking you to do it if you can't do it, but if you would consider it, that really would help us out. And last but not least, if you have a question, comment, or feedback, of course, you can write in the comment section, but you can also email us noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. And potentially, we'll even discuss what you send in on a future episode. Thank you all so much for being with us, and we look forward to being with you guys next time.
Thank you guys. Stay safe. We'll see you again next time.